And I see some of you have fallen out of love with Jesus. The amen is showing. It's been a long week, I suppose, to spend with Jesus. It's just too long to spend a whole week with Jesus. Tonight, I just want to acknowledge a few of our visitors who have been here for more than 3 days. These are visitors who have been consistent. I think it's unfair to still call them visitors. If you've come more than twice, I mean, you're no longer a visitor. So we've got Sandy Songuli. Where's Sandy Song? Oh, yeah. Shine, brothers, shine. No, shine. You guys say shine. When I say shine, please say shine. Welcome, Sandy. So thank you for gracing us with your presence, man. We feel honored. Londega Matebula. Where's Londega? Oh, there she is. Shine, Londega, shine. Shine. All right. Sandy, I think the problem was with you. Londega, thank you. Thank you for being with us. I didn't see where Tamsana. I didn't see where there she is. Shine. All right. You must wait for me. All right. Let's see if we can't get it right for Nicole Baloy.
Yes.
Nicole Baloy. Where's Nicole? Oh, there she is at the back. Shine, Nicole, shine. All right. Thank you again, Nicole, for gracing us with your presence. To all 4 of you, thank you for coming over the last couple of days. If you weren't here, those seats you are in would be empty, and then would feel like, oh no, this is bad. You know, I must be talking nonsense. People are not coming, but because we're here, it feels like the room is full, and I can say, I went to Rhodes, I feel the auditorium. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. So tonight we're talking about faith. Yesterday we spoke about hope. I don't know if you can see the consistency. Okay, there's a common theme there, and it's going to be carrying on right up until next week. And here's the theme, guys. Here's the theme. That there's absolutely nothing that you do which can control God. Not your prayer, not your faith, not your hope. It doesn't control God. Whatever you do has been given to you by God for your benefit. All right. So when you pray, you're not praying to impress God. You are praying so that you can ascend to the presence of God in prayer. All right. So prayer is yours. It's not for God. So that's why when you haven't prayed, don't feel like God is lonely. Like, Ish, I haven't prayed today. I didn't talk to my friend. I didn't show up. He was lonely. He's not lonely because you didn't pray. When you don't pray, you miss out on ascending into the presence of God. Okay. Hope. If you don't have hope, God doesn't look at you and is impressed. Hey, that one has hope, and yeah, I'm going to save them. When you have hope, hope carries you. It doesn't carry God. It's the same thing with faith. Faith is not petrol that you give to God, and then God gives you what you want because you have given Him faith. Are we together? So again, just to be consistent, and we had said when we started, while everyone is decommercializing things, they're decolonizing things, we're decommercializing Christianity. Stop this thing of treating Christianity as a transaction. You possess some things and that God wants from you, so you give Him those things, and then God gives you what you want from Him. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And of course, as we will talk on Sabbath, some they call it Saturday, when we hear, is that the reward is not necessarily what God is bringing. The reward is the fact that we are in the presence of God. That's the reward. And being in the presence of God, it makes it, like Moses, it makes what we are looking forward to seem futile. So you get to a point where you say, you know what, even if I don't get what I was looking forward to, what I have enjoyed in the presence of God has been enough. Even if God doesn't deliver that. Someone, when you were growing up, we used to play around and say, hey guys, what if this whole thing was a joke? You know those questions? This whole thing is a joke. joke like there's no God. There was just some white guy who was sitting somewhere and he decided, you know what, I'm going to play a prank. And then it got serious and he got too scared to say I'm joking. and like it just got serious. And I'm saying, so I'm going to say, if this is a joke by a white guy, then that white guy is God. Because nobody can come up with something so profound on their own. Then they have to be God. Whoever came up with this must be God. It can't come from any human being. And so if this was a joke, and there was no heaven, and there was no eternal life, or there was, you know, this whole thing, and everything that was happening in your life was all just coincidence, you know, a whole host of well-organized coincidences, then it would have been worth it, because the belief that you have that there is a God has sort of should have helped you overcome a lot of the concrete difficulties that you have faced. So it's worth it. And someone who says, if it is, I'm going to be angry. At who? Like if there's no God, then I'd be angry at God, but there's no God. Like who would you be angry at? And the reason why I would feel so hard done by is because we wouldn't have really enjoyed what I want you guys to experience, and I'd love to experience as well. It's just the beauty and the joy of walking with God. That's it. I don't want like things from Him, you know, that come from Him. Because those things are temporary. They come and they go, you know. I've had like, what, 3-4 cars? Not like at the same time. Okay, but I've had like 3-4 cars. I know the excitement. You have a car and it's gone. And then the tires get old. And then because when you went to buy the car, you only calculated the installment. You didn't ask how much the tires cost. And then all of a sudden you're like, what's this thing about? It's so expensive, and then the petrol price goes up, it more than doubles in 3 years after you just bought the car. The petrol price doubles, and then all of a sudden you feel like, this thing that comes from God has become torture, you know. And you just fitted. I remember once I fitted 2 tires, and then so I left the other 2. And you know, like in Durban, you've got very shady business people. So you fit the 2 tires, and then they'll tell you the tires that you can see there's nothing wrong with your tires. That's why you're only changing 2. Then they'll tell you, hey, my brother, you might need to look at the other 2 because they're also they're going. In fact, I think it's very dangerous to your life to still using those. And of course, but as soon as you drive out of the shop, you hit a pothole, and the tire that you just fitted, it just, you know, it gets damaged. And you're thinking, man, you sit there wondering, is this what Christianity is about? God delivering blessings and then the blessings delivering torture. And then asking God to deliver you from your blessing. It's just useless, you know. We can't have this transactional relationship with God. You know, you get a child, the sweetest thing ever when they grow up. As soon as they are old, then they start questioning everything you've ever taught them. And they I'm not talking about you, like, you know, discovering the truth and then questioning your belief. Like, I'm just talking about, like, they do the exact opposite of how you raise them. They become the most rebellious, the most dangerous thugs in the country. You know, and when you remember that time when you held them and they were like a blessing. Now you are praying for God to deliver your blessings from themselves and to deliver you from your undelivered blessing. It's just so like Christianity can't be about just soliciting and getting blessings. You can't be a consumer with God. All right, you have to lose that consumerist attitude or outlook when you're dealing with God. He's not there to be consumed. Okay, He's not there to give you things that you're going to consume. He's there to be experienced. All right, that's what God is there about. That's what God is about. He's there for you to experience Him. And the beauty of that is you don't have to go to any exciting church to always feel like you're in the presence of God. Like the presence of God, you know, I was going to say this later, but I'm going to say it now. There's some people who mistake the volume of their voices for faith. Like, while they're praying, and people say, that's a woman of faith. You don't mess around, and they assume that just because the volume is high, therefore this person has faith. Sometimes people don't raise their voices because they believe. Sometimes they raise their voices precisely because they're scared. And you know, my boy, we were walking. It just doesn't make sense. We were walking out of the house. We're going to the shops, And so we stay close, very close to the shops. And he walks out. As soon as he gets out, woo, cars! And he's excited. And he runs onto the road. Yeah, I shouted at him. And I ran after him, you know. And I grabbed him and I was angry, you know. And I almost beat him. I almost hit him, you know, like, what are you doing? But that's not logical. Why are you going to beat up a child because you're scared they almost died? So I told Pastor Papu about what had happened. We were just talking generally, and I said to him, hey, but you know, my boy just did something that scared me today. I was angry with him. He says, no, you're not angry. You were scared. You were scared. He says, look. It would make sense for you to be angry at your boy almost dying. You can't be angry at your boy for almost getting knocked down. But he would have knocked himself down. He would have been knocked by a car. So if you must be angry, if you want to be angry, you shouldn't be angry at the car. But to show that you're not angry, you're angry at the wrong person. So you're not angry, you're scared. You're scared that your boy, you almost lost your boy. And it's normal to react, you know, in fear. And then so you shout. And I hear people in church, when they pray, their prayers sound more like parents watching their kids almost getting knocked down by a car. Scared, but acting like they're angry with the devil. But in reality, they're scared. They're fearful. So sometimes, because we focus on the wrong things, we end up hero worshipping people who are amongst the weakest in the faith. You know, simply because they raise their voices. And I always say before I preach that when I preach and I raise my voice, as it happens in some instances, when I visit some parts of the Eastern Cape and they give you an interpreter, and while as you're preaching, he's right here like yoga. And you can't, I don't have that voice that can just keep going and going and going and going and going. And so I always prepare the congregation and say, I'm not going to raise my voice, but it doesn't mean that I don't have, you know, I'm not being used by God. Because you often hear them, they'll say, hey, he had substance. So let's talk about faith. All right. I said yesterday in the topics there, faith not for controlling God. I think that's so dry. But I think if we were going to talk today, I'd say faith is what makes hope concrete. Yeah. Faith is exactly what faith makes your hope tangible. But here's the funny thing. Faith is not tangible. Hope is not tangible. But when they come together, they transform the other and it makes it tangible. It makes your hope tangible. And so we're going to discuss that. How does faith make your hope tangible? And it's got what I'd like to call, you know, there are two sides of Christianity, at the risk of compartmentalizing things. Right? Like you compartmentalize, we like to compartmentalize things. There's a book I was reading, Steve Biko, I Write What I Like, and he's got a nice essay that he delivered at a religious meeting. So, just because I quote Steve Biko, now I know some of our righteous nuts are going to be like, now he's getting into politics. No, he just makes an interesting point. And I'm talking about the issue of compartmentalizing your Christian experience, where you compartmentalize. You've got a life that you live in your room, you are someone else, and then you are someone else on the corridors in your rest. Then as soon as you get outside, you transform, and you become someone else, and then you get to church, you transform again, and then you transform more than the transformers. And then when you're at home again, you become someone else, all right? And that's all a product of compartmentalizing. So he's got an interesting point where he says that in African traditional religions, like of course we had God, we understood that there was a God, and God was in everything, in all areas of our lives. Before we ate, we acknowledged God. Before we had a ceremony, we acknowledged God. Before you walked into your own house, you acknowledged God. Before you you did anything. God was in every area. He permeated every area, every facet of your life. And then came the Europeans, all right, the Westerners, and they taught us how to compartmentalize and restrict God into certain spaces. So then you have God who's in a room and in a church, and when you walk into church, have you ever seen yourself when you walk into church? Colonized. I'm serious. You do things that you never do when you're outside of church. All right. Let me make this point for you. Let me make this point. And that inconsistency, and I'm not saying disrespect a holy space. I'm saying to you, if God is with you everywhere you go, then why are you being more respectful and reverent in a holy space as if that's the space that God has determined will be holy? God didn't bless spaces, He blessed time. Do you know why He blesses time? Because you cannot get away from time. You can get away from space. So God doesn't capture buildings. He captures time. So that you can't move, you can't operate outside of time. So that is why you will say, that's why you hear people saying, right, oh, no, don't talk about that in church now. Let's not talk about boys now. Let's just get into church. Then we'll continue the subject outside. And I always say, if you want consistency in your Christianity, what you can't talk about in church, you shouldn't be talking about outside of church. Amen. If you want to be holy, holiness is not, it's not partial. You can't have areas and spaces where you are holy and then there are other places where it's okay to not be holy because I'm not around holy ornaments. So then they taught us how to compartmentalize. You know, we've got rooms. We had rooms that had no rooms, like roundabout. No room, no partitions. Everything is here. That's exactly how we lived our life. That's how we live our lives. There's no, this is my personal life. This is my church life. This is me with my friends. There's none of that. You are you. Because you can't get away from us. There's no point where you're getting away from us or where you can hide from us. And that is the biblical way of life of Christianity. That's very biblical. Where there is absolutely no space where you are someone else apart. Because we believe you are away from people, then you become something totally different. You are who you are regardless of where you are. Alright. Does that make sense? So don't have this thing of compartmentalizing your life. So I want to say now, at the risk of compartmentalizing now, that we've also got these two aspects of Christianity. We understand themes in the Bible, biblical themes. But which are broad and biblical, like they're broad and yeah, they're broad. But we want to compartmentalize it. Like for example, we've got faith. When it comes to faith, we understand faith only to mean when we are dealing with problems. We never think of faith and its moral implications. All right, what does faith have to do with the way you live your life, with the choices you make about your life? You can't have faith when you need money and not have faith when you have to run away from sin. Are we together? Right. So and then of course the Bible will say, you know, Paul in Hebrews would quote Habakkuk and said, "The just shall live by faith." And that is not just about I need something, therefore I've got faith. And then all of a sudden you've got a temptation, you don't need faith. You're gonna attend it with your wisdom. Alright, so let's go to Hebrews chapter 11, of course, and by the way, that passage on the just shall live by faith is found in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 28. So in case you want to write it down. Okay, so here's the statement. It says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Let's read it again, so you understand. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good testimony. And of course he spends the rest of chapter 11 telling us how the elders received a good testimony by faith. And then in verse 3, by faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. Powerful stuff. All right. So that verse 3 sort of just sums up what faith is all about. Okay. So by faith, we understand. So faith is the understanding. All right. You don't get to understand the mechanics of how God created the world out of nothing using the word. Your faith, accepting that by faith, is your understanding. All right. So by faith we understand. Of course, it doesn't say we accept. It says we understand that the world was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was made out of what was not seen. Or the things that are seen were not made of things which are visible. Let's pray together. So, dear God, we've opened your word, we've read it. We ask now, dear Father, for your guidance to understand it. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Right. Now, so it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. So, now you see the relationship between faith and hope. You hope for something, and faith makes what you're hoping for. It gives it substance. All right. So you can't. What carries you about your hope is not that you have hope. It is who you have hope in. All right. Now faith takes it that the one you have hope in has the ability to deliver what you hope for. Right. Hope then takes on a new dimension where it then carries you while what you are hoping for has not yet arrived. But here's what faith does. Faith takes what you are hoping for, all right, and it brings it into the present, even though you're still going to meet it in the future. So such that by the time it arrives, you have already rehearsed how to possess it. All right. Let me make an example. I was talking to Will yesterday, and we'll talk about this when we talk about God's law again. Any struggle, all right, any struggle that does not have a pedagogical element in it, i.e. a teaching element in it, is a waste of time. Your struggle must teach you, it must capacitate you to handle what you're struggling for. Let me say this again. Your struggle must enable you to be able, I'm glad you didn't catch it. So your struggle must enable you to be able to, to possess what you're struggling for. All right. You don't learn how to handle what you're struggling for when you possess it. The struggle teaches you how to possess what you're struggling for. All right. So because what you're struggling against is not only, you're not only struggling for something, but you're also struggling against something. You're also struggling against the abuse of living without what you're struggling for. All right. So not having what you're fighting for damages you to the point where you can't even enjoy what you have been fighting for, because you're so damaged that you don't even realize when you have it. Now when you possess it, when you possess what you're struggling for or what you've been fighting for, you then become, because you have never been capacitated, you have never been educated in handling what you've been fighting for. So when you possess it, you then reflect the one who kept it away from you. Because that's the only person you've ever seen handling what you've been struggling for. Are you hearing me? Right. So if you're fighting for something, the struggle must be the one that teaches you how to handle what you're fighting for. You're not gonna suddenly land up in what you're fighting for and then you know how to handle it. You build the capacity. There we go. That is why I've got a serious problem with black people. We've got a serious problem, a serious challenge as black people. And I'm allowed to have this problem because I'm a black man. Right? Here's my problem with black people. We hate processes. We hate being part of a process. I was talking to a group of people once. This is all had to do with faith, by the way. I was talking to a group of people once and I said to them, look, why don't you come together? We've got, we've got the numbers. Let's just come together, put money together, get 100 guys, you put 100 rands every month, then you've got 10,000 rands, for the month, and you put that into an account, all right? And then at the end of the year, don't go buy food. Stock fair. Don't go buy food. We work so hard for the whole year, only for eat some more. And just a saute. Yeah, and Ultraman. So I said, okay, so you put it together, and then you've got 120,000 at the end of the year. You put it in an interest-bearing account, a unit trust, or whatever. You investigate what products are out there, and you keep that there for 10 years. You don't say that to a black person. You can't say, do something for 10 years to a black person. You never say that. As soon as I said for 10 years, and you can tell. And you can tell that this has already been forecast. Because as he's raising his hand, this one's so he raises his hand and he says, Pastor, I've got a problem. You're saying 10 years. What if I die? And he says, what if I die? What happens to this man? You see, we have become so acquainted with consuming what we get. And maybe someone can look at why we are like that. But we're so geared towards, as soon as it arrives, we consume it. We don't have a thing that says, let me build myself up, let me build what I've gotten up, let me build it up so that it becomes much more than what it is right now. All right. And so he says, what if I die? So I said to him, but what if you don't? Yeah. Which is more dangerous? And this is by the way, this is an Adventist card. Okay. Adventist for our visitors. We've got a general doctrine, a biblical doctrine, it's not general, a biblical doctrine. General belief that when you die, you die. You don't go to heaven. That's why we are afraid of dying. Alright, because and that's why you're also afraid of dying. Because you somehow you believe that this thing of dying and going to heaven is not real. Because I mean seriously, it doesn't make sense. What if we all died and then we all went to heaven? Why are we still here? We should be jailing doctors and paying murderers. Because they're killing us and they're sending us to heaven. We're all going to heaven, it's nice. And of course, if my mother dies and she goes to heaven, she becomes my security guard. Like I need things and I ask her, she's an angel watching over me, and she's dead. Then I can't cry when she dies because I've got security, Mos. She's going up there. Right? So but then I feel sad when she dies because I know that she's not gonna do that. No, I'm not the only one who feels sad. Even people who believe that people die and go to heaven, they still feel sad. If someone was walking here with an AK-47, none of us would volunteer and be like, well, I'm not Nobody would do that because we know that. So I said to this guy, but so now here's the funny thing, here's the kicker. He knows that when he's dead, he'll know nothing. He'll be sleeping. He'll be aware of absolutely nothing. But he's afraid that when he dies, he might feel the pain of leaving money behind. Alright, so he's going to be dead. I said to them, and I was playing around, I said to them, no man, and this thing of buying expensive coffins and things, just, I mean, I don't mind, just song a little dance, I don't know what to call it, but, you know, traditional method. Alright, and what is it in Shona? Yeah? Okay. Right. They know it. I just had to make sure we were all together. Alright. So I just said, roll me up in this thing and throw me in the hole. Alright. That's it. And just throw the soil over me. That's it. It's fine. Oh, my wife's spending 20,000 rand buying a coffin and then it drops it. Just roll me up in this thing and put me in there. Oh, the guys, I can't die like that. Why? This guy is going to be dead. He says, I must die in deep ones. Yes, you can't enjoy that. It's like getting sad when someone says, I'm not going to attend your funeral. You're not coming. As if you're going to be aware that so he says, all right. So he says, but what if don't die? What if you don't die? And 10 years have passed. You know, and thinking, man, we should have started this thing 10 years ago, and you didn't do it. But here's the problem. We don't want to become part of a process, and that is why we become victims of these charlatans that promise us immediate miracles, breakthroughs, and we receive them. Simply because we don't want to become part of a process. We don't want to become. We don't want to become. We want to possess without becoming. We don't want to be capacitated to handle the blessing that we're praying for. We want the blessing to arrive immediately and then figure our way when the blessing arrives. And that is why we must use the blessing, because we've got no way of knowing what the purpose of the blessing was, because there's no capacity. So you spend your whole life fighting to keep the blessing, because somehow you have also attached your significance to the blessing, because you were not anyone before the blessing. That's why I like Hannah. By faith, when she walks out of the temple, she celebrates the arrival of Samuel even before he arrives. She's happy when she leaves that temple. 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 9. When she leaves that temple, she's happy. Samuel has not arrived. When Samuel arrives 9 months later, Hannah does not start afresh by being happy. Why? Because prayer was the struggle that capacitated her to handle the blessing. She found her joy in the presence of God and she ascended in prayer. When the blessing came, she did not find significance in the blessing. When it arrived, she took it and took it back to God. She had no problem living with. That's what faith does. That's what faith does. It allows you, it shows you that there's nothing wrong with the process of living without it. At times, God must allow you to live without it, just so that you can learn that it's possible to live without it. Once you know, once you're okay with being without it, then God delivers it. So there we were, friends of mine. I was still at varsity before I went to Heidelberg, still in university. And we, you know, you dream, you stand there and you dream. And I think, but again, we must deal with this problem, guys. You can't have a dream and your dream is a car. You just can't. You can't say. That's my dream car. Are you serious? Are you telling me that God resources you so much, and all you're going to do with it is you're going to buy a car? That's so then we were standing there and I said, you know, I want to itch that car, you know, I like that car. And then someone says, hey, I like that one. Hey, I like that one. Then we start fighting about cars that are not ours. You can't like that one. Why? No, it's too small. We've never been inside any of those cars, but somehow we're experts about it. We're fighting about it, and we're talking, no, bro, you can't, no, you can't. No, I like this one. My one. So we're sitting there and we're talking. Then of course, you know, when okay, I'm not saying you guys go, but when we were in university, there were two things. I needed to get a degree and I wanted to be liked by as many girls as possible. just even if I was to walk in somewhere, I would have loved for girls just to stay, look at me and be like, And then, nothing much. Right. So then, and of course, this aspiration. So I wanted to get a degree so that I can get a car, so that girls can like me when I have a car. Of course, they wouldn't have liked me, they would have liked the car, but somehow I managed to make the like for the car to be about me. So then we say, yeah, you know, when I was to get a car, then, you know, I'm and then, but you don't get the car. And listen to me carefully. So I wanted a BM 325, just a BM 325 with beige interior. That's what I wanted. All right. That's just a BMW. No, you can't say You can't. Please don't. So I wanted that car. So I was still a bachelor. I said, you know what? If I can just get that car, fine. You know. Then I got married in 2011. 2014, we changed our car. And guess what we got? My wife liked the exact same car that I always wanted, a BMW 325. And was gonna and we got beige. And I got it. But here's the thing, I wanted the car when I was single. I got you own this thing now. So I got this thing. So I was happy with it. I was happy with the car. car. You know, I finally got so-called dream car. And you know, I was glad that my wife, but it was not gonna get me any girls. Even if it did, I can't do anything. I can't entertain that. All right. So I took it to my friend. I went to my friend and said, hey, I'm angry at God. Why is it delivering this thing now? I don't want it now. I wanted it back there. Now it's too late. It's too late. And it dawned on me. It dawned on me that if I possessed it then, it would have been premature, and I would have used the blessing to leave a trail of broken hearts and damaged lives with that same car. And so it had to wait. So the struggle, the wait for the car, was so that I can be given the capacity to handle the blessing when it arrives. So it arrived at the right time, when I was responsible enough to handle the car. But I lived without the car. And you know what got me through varsity? The dream of one day buying the car. So even while I was in varsity, I was already a man driven to possess that car. I was already a BMW driver even while I was in class. And in class, you can't fail. Like, yeah, you can't fail. You have to, because there's a car waiting for you to purchase. In class, you can't. You know, do you get what I'm trying to say to you? The faith that the belief that I had that one day I'll be able to drive it was what took me through. But as it was taking me through the process of not having it, it was also capacitating me to be able to handle it when it arrives. So when it arrived, guess what? When it arrived, I was quite okay not having it. Because I learned that life is possible without it. Then you get this guy, Moses, 40 years in the desert. We spoke about this on Sunday, if you remember. 40 years in the desert, going to the promised land. God takes them out of Egypt, and he takes them to he says, we're going to the promised land. And he goes with them. And on the way, they get into a fight, and then God says, I'm no longer going with you into the promised land. When they left Egypt, they were going to the promised land. On the way, God says, I'm no longer going with you. I'll send an angel before you. Look, they've just rebelled against God. They've just disappointed God. God still delivers on the promise. He does not let their unfaithfulness change his faithfulness. Now, what is it that warrants God to deliver the promised land to a people who have no faith? So God says, so stop this notion of thinking that faith helps God deliver. God is not dependent upon your actions to deliver what you want. Alright, so, and I'll make this point again. So then he says, no, you go, I'm not going with you. Then Moses says, never. So we're not going without you. Do you know what happened? Do you know what had happened? In the 40 years that they were in the desert, Moses had learned that the secret was not paradise. The secret was the presence of God. So he was part of. So he says, if your presence is not going with us, by faith, we're staying with you here in the desert. You keep your promise and you give it to whoever you want. But we're not going there without you. So we'd rather die here in the desert than to go into the promised land. Can I share this with you for a moment? Can I share what God had done? And this is exactly what God done. When he takes them out of Egypt, he takes them out of one of the wealthiest empires of the time. Alright? They've got money, they were resource, and that was the food capital of the time. Okay. And then when they get out, they were going to go on the west coast, east coast. Yeah, there's Phoenicia, which is the two cities of Tyre and Sidon. You might also know about the little town of Zarephath. You know the widow of Zarephath. And did you know that Jezebel also came from Zarephath? All right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So you've got Tyre and Sidon had beautiful weather, all right, because it was tropical, and they had these strong trees. When Solomon, I'm not just giving you geography, please, this is a very good spiritual lesson. When Solomon wanted to build the temple, he had wood imported from Tyre because it was such a beautiful climate, and such a beautiful climate. It was never cold, almost like Durban weather or East London weather, all right. And then in the north, you then had Syria, all right, which was basically a country that was in the valley, and it got moisture and beautiful water, fresh waters from the mountains. And the valleys were always fertile, all right. And so there was a little time, almost like Grahamstown. You have to climb out of here, whenever you go. Wherever you want to go. I've tried to cycle out of Grahamstown, and every time I have to start on a hill. I'm tired of it. So then Syria was like that, but Grahamstown has only that one freshwater spot at the top there. But Syria had streams of fresh water that were coming down from the mountain. They had valpre from earth. All right. And then on the west, you had Babylon. All right. So Babylon was the textile capital of the time. Now we're talking about this period. Of course, that's the country that's between the two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. But it was the textile capital of the world at the time when the Israelites were leaving Egypt. So you've got Egypt, food. You've got Phoenicia, good weather. You've got Tyre, moisture in the valleys, and then you've got Babylon, which was the textile industry of the time. So if someone was to be taken out of Egypt by God, you'd expect God to then either give them Egypt because he's promising them a land of milk and honey. Isn't that right? But he takes them out of Egypt, which is the food capital of the world at the time. And he takes them out of there and he says, I'm taking you to the promised land. But on the way, in the 40 years, on the way, while they were going to the promised land, then God delivers a menu that cannot be found anywhere else on earth. He gives them manna. So what does God do? He goes to Egypt when they're hungry. And he takes the food of Egypt and he brings it to the desert. And he gives it to them. When they were hot during the day, he goes to Tyre and Sidon and he brings the cool winds of the summer breeze, you know, the cool beach air, and he brings it into the desert during the day. When they were cold at night, he goes and takes the tropical nights of Phoenicia and he brings it to the desert. When they were thirsty, he brings the fresh waters of Syria out of a rock. All right. And when they needed clothes, do you know what he did? He didn't go and take the clothes out of Babylon. No. He just went and stole the quality of the clothes of the textile in Babylon, and he just imbued their clothes with that quality while they were still on their backs. For 40 years, their clothes didn't get old while they were in the desert. Now you understand, Moses says, man, this guy can bring all the wealth and the goodness of all these territories here in the desert, and we dare proceed without him. And by faith, Moses says, you know what? So that's what God was doing. Faith. By faith, they were hoping that they would go to a land of milk and honey. But in the 40 years, they experienced milk and honey in the desert. Yes. So while they're hoping for that city, the joys of that city are transported into the desert to be with them. You see, faith brings the future you're hoping for into the present. Someone once was speaking once and they said, if you want to be a millionaire, start dressing like a millionaire. I don't believe in that. All right, start dressing. I'm not going to get into debt to look rich. Okay, expensive. So I'm not going to do that. But I think what they're trying to say is, if you want to be a millionaire, start thinking. Like what? You can't think like 100 and I'm not preaching prosperity here, but you can't. Allow me to make this illustration. If you make 500 rands, right, and all you do, this is the motion you do. You get the money. It's 500 rands. You get the money. And this is a direct translation. You get it, you eat it. Right, you get it, you eat it. You get 1,000 rands. You're so used to this motion. Alright, so even if it's 1,000 rands, you often hear people say, you'll see it when you start working. And someone said, I'm getting a raise next year. Before the raise even arrives, they're drawing up a budget to spend. Yeah. I'm getting 1,000 rand extra, and you're already thinking of it. I'm going to get a new phone. I need a new phone. You suddenly have needs because this is what you're used to. All right, this is what you're used to. You're used to that. Even when you get $1 million, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to. That's why, by the way, you're never going to get to $1 million because you don't keep enough to build, and it becomes $1 million. Right? So you always consume it prematurely. So but faith says that you'd fight with accountants if you were to live by faith. You fight with accountants if you're to live by faith. All right? Because faith is a contradiction of the law. Is the law of prudence where you can't spend money you don't have. All right? Faith says you are looking forward to walking on the streets of gold. So you start practicing your step on dusty streets. Because you're getting ready to walk on the streets of gold. You start rehearsing for the golden streets while you're walking on dust. But what faith says, when you're walking on dust, you don't see dust, you see gold. So that you will take the rehearsal serious. Am I making sense? Yes. So you don't, so you when I was growing up, I was always asked in church by friends of mine, so you go to church and you stay in church the whole day? And I say, yeah, the whole day, Don. I say, yeah. And of course, some of my friends would visit me, and my grandmother had a rule, no TV from Friday evening till Saturday evening, no TV. And of course, you don't feel that because Friday evening, it's just boom, 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 worship, and then you're off to bed because you have to wake up early on Sabbath, prepare for church, and then you go to church the whole day. So all my friends went through that same routine. And you go to church, you stay in church the whole day. The whole day. When you come out, it's dark. The first thing you do when you get home, try and switch on the TV, Coco will pinch you and say, hey, switch off. We have to rehearse first what we learned in church today. We have to tell her what we learned. And that thing sometimes can take hours of that. So then people would ask me, so that you stay in church the whole day. The whole day. And I say, yeah. The whole day. And then whoever's visiting my house will say, and they don't watch TV. For 2 days. Oh, of course, you know they'll exaggerate. The whole weekend. No TV, no. Nothing. But why do you do that? Why do you do that? You know, it bothered me. And of course, once again, I didn't have the answer then, I have it now, but I don't need it now, because I don't need to explain myself to anyone now. So it hit me that you can't hope to stay in heaven for 1,000 years when you can't switch off from life for 24 hours. So, do you know why I stay in church the whole day? Do you know why we switch off the TV from Friday evening to Saturday evening? Do you know why we do that? It's a rehearsal. We are rehearsing for eternity. We are learning to liberate ourselves from the things of earth. So, because we know that there's nothing permanent here on earth, we're not going to take this with us. So we are rehearsing to live without it for 24 hours. Just for 24 hours. Now, I always ask the question, you know, some of us can't even stay in church for 1 hour. Just listen to a sermon for an hour. And then you are in church because you're hoping to work your way to eternity. You can't for an hour focus on holy things. Someone says, when I pray, I just fall asleep. It's just 5 minutes and I fall asleep. But this whole thing that we're doing, this is an act of faith. This is an act of faith. We're not trying to earn our way into heaven. We are trying to rehearse for the heaven that is to come. So, we know that heaven is coming. Alright? So what do? We start living as though we're already in heaven while we're still here on earth. That's faith. Faith gives substance to what we're hoping for. We do it because we know that God will deliver it. So we don't want Him to deliver it lest He finds us not ready for it. So we don't want to spend. So the reason why we do it, and we do it with commitment, is so that when He's ready to give it to us, He doesn't postpone it because He believes we're not ready. Are you hearing me? Yeah. Right. So you can't. So faith then becomes a regulator, a way of living your future in the present. The future has not yet arrived. And then Paul says something powerful. He says by faith we accept and we understand that what was created by the word of God, so that what we see was made out of things that are unseen. Now, when I was studying, we used to do what we call cost and management accounting, and we used to do job costing. Now, in job costing, you get your raw materials. You have to calculate the cost of the job that you've just done. So, if I've made this bench, there's a cost to it. There are overheads like electricity, and then there's labor, the person who did this, and then there's the raw materials that you have to add on to this. And you calculate how much it cost you to make this bench, right? And then you add your markup, and that becomes your selling price. Look at that, cost accounting free of charge just because you came to church. So, but I can't make this, all right? I haven't been looking at you guys because I'm not amen, man. So this bench, right? I can't make this, right? I can't make this. For me to make this, I need wood, right? Those are my raw materials. So when this is made, you can then say, this was impossible to make without wood. So how do you disturb my business? You make sure I don't have access to wood. You deprive me of access to wood so that I can't make these desks anymore. And my business is gone. But how do you disturb someone whose business is to make things out of nothing? You can't destroy nothing. Like, you can't stop them from having access to nothing. You don't have the access to nothing. So Paul says, when God created, he took nothing and he fashioned it into something. So you can't say that the earth, the ground that you see, there were pre-existing materials. The only pre-existing entity before the earth was God. And God made everything that you see out of nothing. Now, if you accept that God can make the earth out of nothing, what is it that makes you believe that God requires something to make anything in your life? So, the same God who didn't need raw materials when he was creating the earth, now all of a sudden, simply because he has created you, he needs raw materials when he needs to assist you. Are you with me? So all of a sudden, you want to work your way into heaven. You want to have faith. My aunts would always say, when you pray, you must have faith. Shake heaven. You must shake heaven and have faith. And of course, you shout, and you discover that she's actually scared. It's not faith that she has. She's shaking heaven with noise. All right, and she says, you must shake heaven. Somehow, for God to act on her behalf, she needed to be loud so that God can hear her. God requires the raw materials of her voice so that God can deliver her from her problems. And if God requires something from you, what stops you from controlling God? So how much of a God is he who then relies on you before he can become a God? Shouldn't he be able to act independent of your actions concerning your life? Why does he need you to be the, in order to say to people, you must also decide whether you want a God or a garden boy. Like, you want an errand boy or you want a God? Do you want someone you can send to things, or do you want someone who will say to you, no, you don't need that, and stand up to you? Because you see, if God wants to become your errand boy and do everything that you ask him to do, then you'll be tempted to think that it is your mind that is God. And there's no God. Because God does whatever you think. So at some point God needs to say no. It's not the time for that yet. And you say, but I want it, and he says, you don't need it. Yeah, but I think I need it. No, you don't need it. You don't need it. Just here's some hope, here's some faith. Hold on to this. And then here's what we do. Right? And I told you exactly why God delays in some instances. And then we say, okay, he's not hearing me. So I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray harder than before. Right? So then you pray at 7 in the morning, 1 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m., and then there's the classic, 3 a.m. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. It's quiet. Just watching. And then so you've got these 5 prayer sessions throughout the day, and then you say, and you call it faith. But it's not faith, because you're panicking. All right, and then so you pray 5 times a day, and then when you see, faith is what Daniel did. When problems arise, you don't change the amount of times you pray. Nor do you change the content of your prayer. You pray what you've always prayed about. You pray as you have always prayed. You're not inspired by your problems. Faith doesn't deny that life has problems. Faith denies that problems are significant enough to be mentioned in prayer. Because faith says, the problem is here in 2017. I'm already in 2020 when the problem has long passed. So when I pray as if I'm already in 2020, even though I'm still living in 2017. So then you fast, and then you say, okay, no, I'm not praying 5 times. So let me fast. Fast. So that God will hear me. And then your hunger somehow makes God more powerful. Do you know why we fast, by the way? Do you know why we fast? We don't fast to assist. We don't fast so that God can hear us. We deny ourselves of distractions from things that distract us from hearing God. So when you have fasted, you're not supposed to be satisfied when God does your will. You're supposed to be satisfied after fasting when you understand the will of God about your life. Fasting does not change God's mind. Fasting changes your mind to think like God. That is why when the shepherd goes out to look for the lost sheep, he takes the sheep and he puts it across his shoulder, and he puts the heart of the sheep right next to his heart. And as they walk home, when he catches the sheep is scared because he thought it was about to die. But as they walk home, the sheep's heart begins to imitate the heart of the shepherd. By the time they get home, the sheep's heart and that of the shepherd are beating as one. The journey home, the journey through the wilderness with the shepherd who is God, is not about depriving you of the comforts of home. It is about God getting your heart to beat as one as His. The wilderness experience of prayer, the wilderness experience of life without what you're praying for, is meant to capacitate you to be a person who will be able to live home without fearing of losing home. So when you finally get what you want, you don't start praying for God to protect what He has given you. There's so much I need to say. There's so little time. And you know why, guys? Do you know why we get afraid of the things that we've been given? Because we've gotten them by faith. Do you know why we get afraid when they arrive? Do you know why we get afraid? Because we never say thank you to God for them. Even when you say thank you because you don't want Him to take it back. And then you're off. But not because you want. You see, do you know why we thank God for what He gives us? When we thank Him, we acknowledge Him as the source of what He has given us. So when you acknowledge Him as the source of what He has given us, we then say to Him, thank you for what you've given me. I appreciate it. Thank you. I really do. But I don't need it. I don't need it. So God says, good, then you can keep it. And because you don't need it, you don't worry about it. But because you know that God is the source of it, then God takes care of it. So you don't worry about it. And that's why I can be here and my son is at home. Because I know that his survival is not dependent on me. I'm not stressing, I'm not losing sleep about my family at home. Because I didn't generate them and bring them into my life. God brought them into my life. So I don't stress about them. I let God, their creator, stress about them. I don't stress about them. I just simply enjoy what God is. I don't need them. They don't need me. And that's why my wife doesn't call me 24/7 and check on my phone. Because she doesn't need me. She's not afraid of losing me. She's not afraid of losing me because I'm not her life. I'm not her oxygen. She gets it from God. So when I come to Grahamstown and I'm going to be away from home for 2 weeks, she doesn't worry. She doesn't worry because she knows that I'm not faithful to her. I'm not faithful to her. I'm faithful to God. She's a beneficiary of my faithfulness to God. So she benefits as a result of giving. So she doesn't try and separate me from God. So you know what she does when I tell her I'm going to Grahamstown? She prays that God and I remain connected because she benefits from the relationship. Now, when you're going to get a blessing, you're going to get a blessing, and you're going to teach your blessing as your God. Then you're going to spend time tortured by the thoughts of losing the blessing. So, God gives you faith, and He says, here's how to live without the blessing. Let's make your hope for the blessing concrete. Let's give you some faith. It gives you the faith, and you're able to live the life that you are hoping for without what you are hoping for. And you live it. And then when it arrives, you say, but it's late, when I needed it then. I don't need it now. And then God says, now you are able to possess it because you don't need it. And you think Christ is joking when he says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. You see, while in the process of seeking the kingdom of heaven, you lose your appreciation, you lose your love, you lose your obsession with all these things. When you're seeking for heaven, you lose your love for all these things. Because you can live without them, so you are ready for them. Because you can live without them. So, faith is a substance of things hoped for. It's what gives our hope a concrete element. It's what brings the future that we are hoping for right where we are. And faith says to us that there is nothing in us that God requires in order to assist us. And that's why he's able to deliver the promised land, even when the children of Israel have made a golden calf for themselves. And God still says, I will send an angel, I'll still deliver it, I'll send an angel to go before them, but I'm not going. But because they've learned faith, Moses has learned faith over 40 years, Moses says, we don't want the promised land, we want you. We want you. It's broad, this thing of faith, eh? It's broad. Faith says, in heaven there will be no smoking. Faith says in heaven there will be no smoking. So I rehearse not smoking now because I won't smoke in heaven. So I start something I'm not going to take with me to heaven. So faith then allows you to structure your life in such a way, in a way that you prepare for where you are going. Because you know you're not living for now. You are waiting, working for heaven. So you live your life now. And that is why Paul says, all these ancients died, not having received what they had hoped for. But they died in joy. They were happy without what they were hoping for. Faith allowed them to live a life of happiness. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, we'll do about 15 minutes on this, and then we'll get into excellence, what we owe God. Excellence is what we owe God. That you can lose heaven for being mediocre. You can lose heaven for being mediocre. Mediocrity. You lose eternal life because you are mediocre. So you suffer a life of mediocrity, and then you suffer for being mediocre. So let's pray together. And I know people are expecting that. Hey! Moves mountains. Faith moves you. Faith moves you. Faith believes that. Faith doesn't move the mountain. Faith flattens the mountain. You don't move it. You flatten it. You walk over it as if it's not there. While the mountain is in front of you, faith imagines the day when the mountain will no longer be there. And it brings that day to the present. And you walk through the mountain as if you're walking during a day when it is no longer there. Today. Hey, let's pray. So once again, dear Father, we thank you for allowing us to discuss your word and talk about your word. Thank you for helping us to glean some lessons that are vital and crucial for our growth in our lives. And we ask in a special way, dear Father, that you help us to remember everything, dear Lord, that we require to grow in you. And if anything, dear Father, has been said here tonight that we don't need, may we forget it and not remember it ever again. Forgive us, Father, if we have said anything about you that is not fitting, and help us, dear Lord, and help us for it to not make an impression on our minds, and help us, dear Father, to overcome any temptation, dear Lord, to recreate you for ourselves in our minds. We thank you, dear Father, for the gift of faith. Thank you so much for giving us faith, dear Lord, not so that we can control you, but so that by faith, dear Father, we can understand that you are in control. We ask, dear Lord, in a special way, that you give us more faith. Just a little bit more faith. Not so that, dear Father, you can hear us better, but just so that we can hear you better. So that we can see as you see better. Dear Father, we understand here tonight, dear Lord, that if prayer was to bring us into your presence, then faith, dear Father, would be the binoculars you give us to look at our lives as you see them. So we ask in a special way, dear Father, that as we put on heaven's glasses, dear Lord, to look at our lives, that we may see our lives, dear Father, as heaven sees them, as you see them by faith. We accept, dear Lord, whatever may be going on, that it is well within your control and well within your plans. And we ask, oh dear Father, in a special way, that you help us and assist us to trust you, even when circumstances do not allow. We ask, oh dear Father, in a special way, that you may give us peace that surpasses all understanding. Some of us, oh dear Lord, are here tonight. It's a moment where we get away from the chaos of our lives, the chaos that is whirling around in our minds, oh dear Father. There's so many problems at home, at school, relationships, money problems, sicknesses. We've also got self-esteem, mental issues, oh dear Lord, that we're struggling with, issues of growth, issues of self-awareness. And these moments that we spend here, oh dear Father, just are so peaceful and so joyous, oh dear Lord, when we're in your presence. We're going back to our places, and we have been taught and socialized in such a way, oh dear Lord, that we believe once we have left the place where your word is discussed, we also leave your presence behind. Maybe for tonight, oh dear Father, may you just undo that for us, oh dear Lord, when you make your presence more pronounced when we leave this place. May we experience you in a more vivid way, oh dear Lord, when we are outside of this auditorium as we head back to our rooms, oh dear Father. Grant us a peaceful night's rest. Open our minds so that we may understand the materials that we are dealing with, oh dear Father, that we are studying, and help us, oh dear Father, to not let you down, but become Christians, oh dear Lord, who will stand for you, oh dear Father, not only in terms of speaking about you and understanding your word, but also, dear Father, when it is time to perform in our studies. May we reflect, oh dear Father, that we have a God on our side who leads people that have and has given us minds that are working and are able to understand. We pray all of these things, dear Lord, not because you are worthy, but we pray them in the mighty and powerful name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.